Yet the greatest question remains: where does this path lead? Modern Russia stands at a crossroads between power and isolation, between ambition and consequence. Its leaders speak the language of destiny, of spheres of influence, of great powers reshaping the map. Its critics warn of overreach, sanctions, demographic decline, and the costs of endless confrontation. But inside Russia, the dominant feeling is neither fear nor doubt. It is defiance, a certainty that whatever happens, the country will endure as it always has. In this atmosphere, every parade, every speech, every new missile test is more than simple military display. It is a message to the world: we are still here. The echoes of the Tsars, the songs of the Red Army, the pride of the space race, the memory of Stalingrad, all fuse into a single narrative that tells the people they belong to something vast and indestructible. That sense of belonging is powerful. It turns sacrifice into duty, hardship into honor, and history into fuel for the future. Whether admired or feared, supported or opposed, Russia continues to shape global events. Its actions ripple far beyond its borders, influencing markets, politics, alliances, and security strategies around the planet. And behind every headline, behind every tank column or diplomatic speech, there is the same ancient idea: Mother Russia must stand tall. That idea has survived emperors, revolutions, dictators, collapses, and rebirths. It is older than any government. It is cultural DNA. And this is where we leave our story today, with a nation forged by winters, molded by wars, and driven by an unbreakable belief in its own mission. The world watches closely, sometimes with fear, sometimes with respect, sometimes with disbelief. But nobody ignores it, because steel that is forged under pressure does not simply shine, it reshapes the blade. If you enjoyed this journey through history, politics, and military power, make sure to leave a like, share this video, and subscribe to the channel for more cinematic stories from past and present conflicts around the world. Your support helps us keep bringing you powerful narratives like this one. See you in the next video. But to understand the present, you must look deeper into the psychology of a nation that has repeatedly risen from disaster. Few countries have experienced collapse the way Russia has. Revolutions, famines, invasions, political breakdown, economic paralysis. Every time the same story repeated, the world predicted the end, and Russia somehow returned stronger, more centralized, more determined. This cycle created a cultural belief that crisis is not a threat. It is a forge. Pressure does not weaken Russia. It creates new steel. That belief now meets modern geopolitics. The confrontation with the West is not seen only as a clash of interests, but as a civilizational struggle. Television debates, patriotic songs, massive rallies, military parades on Red Square. Everything contributes to the image of a besieged fortress that refuses to surrender. Young people grow up hearing stories of heroes, of sacrifices, of grandparents who fought in the Great Patriotic War. For them, history is not in textbooks, it is in family memory, around dinner tables, in medals kept inside old wooden boxes. The military structure reflects this mentality. Training is harsh, discipline is strict, and propaganda constantly reinforces honor and duty. Soldiers are told not just what they are fighting against, but what they are fighting for: the motherland, tradition, language, identity. When this emotional narrative meets modern weapons, the result is powerful. drones operated by young technicians, cyber units attacking infrastructure, long-range missiles designed to signal that Russia will not be ignored. It is not only a battlefield campaign, it is an identity project. Meanwhile, the political leadership uses history as a weapon. References to the Soviet victory over Nazi Germany, to imperial expansion, to the survival through freezing winters and starvation all serve one purpose: to convince people that endurance is victory. Even when the economy struggles or losses occur at the front, the narrative remains the same. Russia is tested, and Russia endures. This transforms hardship into proof of strength rather than weakness. The worse the pressure, the more heroic the story becomes. And that is why the world was shocked, not because Russia was expected to be weak militarily, but because many underestimated the psychological engine driving it. Tanks and planes can be counted. Patriotism cannot. The combination of historical memory, propaganda, and real military capability creates something unique, a nation that sees conflict not as interruption, but as continuation of its destiny. Whether you agree with it or not, whether you support it or oppose it, one thing is undeniable. Russian steel is not just metal, it is mentality. This is the modern Russia, ancient pride wrapped inside drones and hypersonic missiles, imperial symbols flying beside digital propaganda, soldiers marching under snow while satellites watch from orbit. A country that looks at the past not as a museum, but as fuel. A nation that believes the world may change, but its mission does not. And as long as that belief exists, one thing will remain true. Russia bends, but it does not break. They said Russia would break. They said its spirit would bend under pressure, that the weight of sanctions, isolation, and global criticism would finally crush the country. But instead of collapsing, something ancient woke up. A pride older than the Soviet Union, older than communism, older than modern politics itself. A spirit forged in czarist winters, in endless steppes, in battles where surrender was never an option. What the world saw was not just tanks, missiles, or soldiers. What the world saw was Russian steel, not only in armor, but in willpower. From imperial legacies to the red banners of the Soviet era, Russia has always been defined by one idea: endurance. Empires rose, governments changed, borders shifted. But the belief that Russia survives everything never disappeared. Today, that belief fuels a modern war machine powered by advanced technology, cyber warfare, hypersonic missiles, drones, electronic warfare systems, and a propaganda engine capable of transforming conflict into national mission. For many Russians, this is not just politics, it is destiny, the continuation of a thousand-year story. The modern Russian soldier carries more than a rifle. He carries history. In his mind live memories of Stalingrad, Kursk, Borodino, the Great Patriotic War, the victories that shaped national identity. The message is simple and powerful. Russia does not kneel. This turns every battlefield into a stage of pride, every loss into sacrifice, every advance into proof that the country remains a giant. The world watches through headlines and statistics, but inside Russia the narrative is emotional, patriotic, almost spiritual. The political dimension is equally strong. Power in Moscow is not only about elections or parties, it is about symbolism. The Kremlin presents itself as heir to empire, protector of tradition, defender against foreign influence. Television, speeches, films, songs, military parades. Everything works together to create a feeling of unity and inevitability. The message repeated again and again is that Russia is surrounded, challenged, provoked, and that answering firmly is not aggression, but survival. This narrative transforms geopolitics into a personal story for millions. Technology amplifies that mythology. Modern Russian systems are designed to project not only force, but image. Colossal rockets launching into the sky, columns of armored vehicles advancing through snow, aircraft cutting cold air with thunderous engines. These images create fear in enemies and pride at home. To many supporters, Russia is not just a country. It is a civilization, a shield between East and West, tradition and chaos. That belief is powerful, difficult to break, and stronger than any sanction. Russian steel is not perfect. It faces losses, mistakes, internal debates, and international pressure. But steel is defined not by the absence of damage, but by the ability to hold under impact. And this is the message the world received. Russia may bend, but it does not break. Its strength is not only in factories or arsenals, but in the conviction of its people that history is on their side. Whether admired or feared, one fact is undeniable. Once again, Russia forced the world to look at it. Once again, the old empire spirit woke up inside a modern war.